Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Erin's Book Club. Forgive the extra company here, but our power has gone out, and this is Igor. He's gotten rather cold because of the power going out. Say hi to Igor. So I'm keeping him here just to keep him warm so that we don't get in any trouble until the power comes back on. So just kind of ignore him. He's my guy. So anyway, the book that I read before was a fiction book, so it was my turn to read a non-fiction book. And so for the non-fiction book, I chose Wrongfully Convicted, The Innocent of Canada. Okay, let me first say that I have read a lot of mysteries, I have read a lot of horrors, I have read a lot of scary books. This perhaps is the most terrifying book that I have ever read. The reasoning for that is these are true stories of 6 men who were wrongfully convicted, 2 of which have been murdered by us, the state, for a murder. And I'm going to say that a lot of these were dated for times that were rather, in the past, like 1959, 1969, 1984, before the advent of DNA, and some of these, it's the DNA that saved these men. Now, I'm really hoping that we have improved. Let me just say that the author, Peter Bauer, I think that's how I say it, he opened up the book in the foreword saying that he wasn't critiquing the Canadian justice system and that he still believed in the Canadian justice system, and I gotta give him credit because he just laid in the facts. He didn't put his spin on things. He didn't put his opinion on things. He let us read this and figure it out on our own. That being said, I am really worried about our system. The incompetence of some of these trials, the total lack of investigation, the total lack of looking for other suspects, it actually gets me kind of angry. And he does say, a lot of these cases are tunnel vision, and absolutely, they picked one person and that's it. Doesn't matter. Even there were some cases where other witnesses have come up and said, this couldn't happen because of this, and they didn't even look into it. It was just, yep, no, he's bad. He's done it. Let's kill him. Terrifying book. I actually read it in 3 days, which for me is pretty good because I don't read very quickly. But I couldn't put it down. It kind of disgusted me with some of these things being not solved, and some of these crimes were very scary. It's a read that I think everybody should read, just to see how things can go so awry. Absolutely terrifying book. So the men that were listed in this book are David Melgard, Donald Marshall Jr., Guy Paul Morin, Thomas Chaponneau, Wilbert Coffin, and Stephen Truscott. Now, Stephen Truscott was a 14-year-old boy, and he spent 48 years trying to clear his name, most of that being spent in prison. And I guess the only good thing about this book is that all of the stories, the men were exonerated in the end. Maybe the courts didn't want to admit that they weren't guilty. But they weren't guilty, or they weren't guilty, but they weren't not guilty. It's a bit of a challenge. Really, I can't say anything other than it's a book that needs to be read. It's laid out really well. Each chapter has its own person, and each person is a nice, concise read. There's nothing extra or frivolous or added to it. It's not one of those change your life kind of books. Those are very few and far, but it will make you sit up and think and wow, what really could go wrong. Thoroughly enjoyed reading it, even though it was kind of scary. And it looks like our power came back, so that's wonderful. Right, Igor? So I'm going to get him back where it's nice and warm. But yeah, no, Wrongfully Convicted, The Innocent in Canada, a must read. Very important to just open your eyes to what could go wrong. Thanks very much, and yeah, see you when I've got another book read.